Welcome to the Big Fish Contracting Podcast. Once again, thanks for joining us. I am your co-host, Eric Deringer, with the lovely Tanya Wilson.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great.
How have you been?
Good. Busy.
I saw you cleaned your garage this weekend.
That needed to be done. I mean, you know the inside of my house. I keep it organized, but the garage I lose all control over because that is the boys' space, apparently.
And then you just had at it.
Yeah.
So
I did.
I thought it funny. Couple things. One, I watched your video.
Yes.
And then
they laugh too because they're like, "Oh gosh, there she goes again with her video." I'm like, "That's fine. You can laugh all you want, but I think it's fun."
It is fun and creative, and but you play it obviously in like a fast
Super
forward
speed. Yes.
But
yes.
I think it's playing in real speed, and I moved fast.
I can move pretty quick.
And then I noticed a few times, was Ryan wearing a Big Fish shirt?
He may have been wearing a Big Fish shirt.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's cool. But then I noticed a couple times where he just sat down and watched you. And I'm like, that a boy.
Great supervisor.
Yeah,
really great supervisor.
Like, I saw him doing some things, and then he sits down, and you're just...
100%. And Nolan too, although Nolan was my little shopper. He went and got our bins, so that was nice.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he ran the errand. And
it's nice when kids he's had his driver's license for a minute, but when they get their driver's license, 16, so they love to go anywhere, right?
Oh, yeah, you can send them all over.
I get to drive? Yeah, go running errands?
Yeah,
no
they
problem.
love to run errands, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually been life-changing, having him go and help me out with things like that. It's good.
I know. It's great.
Yeah. And now I have a nice, clean garage, and that makes my heart happy.
It does.
I
love being organized, too.
And we do need to re-drywall it. But then that opens up a whole can of worms. So we're not there yet. We're going to wait
till we hit this whole project.
Yeah, we're going to do the roof and everything. And
we're going to get every contractor in here.
Everyone.
Well, I remember when we did your driveway. It was a dark time.
The driveway was a project.
It was a dark time for you.
We made it.
Remember?
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
Stressful.
The entire
it was
driveway.
So muddy, and that was when I knew you, but not like I know you now.
Right. That was maybe like a year or two in.
Yeah, a year or so in, and it was a mess, muddy, around lots of stuff happening, and your soul was not pleased.
Yeah, it might be OCD a little.
Yeah.
I like clean.
Right, and I'm like, I just got to get this driveway done.
There was. Yeah, I mean, the neighbors didn't know what to think. Like, are we just redoing the whole foundation? What's happening?
Whatever happened to that concrete head that we had? Is that somewhere?
I stumbled across it this weekend.
You did. Okay.
I'm
sure that thing will pop up eventually. We're going to have to bring it in so we can show it to the camera.
What would you even call that? Was it his face?
It was his face.
Wasn't
his name Johnny?
Yeah, Johnny.
Yeah.
Nice
he
guy.
made us a mold of his face after the end of the project, like a gnome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been passing it to each other as a gift. But I haven't seen it in a while.
I think the last time I passed it to you, got pretty mad. So
I got mad. Yeah, because I like presents.
You did get mad. You were mad.
Yeah, I like presents, and I was like, "Oh, they got me a present," and it was just an ugly piece of clay, and I was sad.
Well, I should have painted.
I thought there was gonna be.
Maybe if I paint it, it'll be more likable.
Doubt it. You can try though.
Oh, yeah, but it was nice. And then I was able to donate a lot of, like, the kids' toys. Like, so a lot of the neighbors picked up some bikes and balls and things and small life jackets. And it always feels good to give back. And, neighbors were coming by. It was great. It was a great day. The whole weekend was beautiful.
It was so nice.
Got our boat out.
You went out on the boat?
Out for a whole year. We didn't get it out last year.
You went out on the boat?
Yeah, we went out.
On
Saturday.
Michigan?
No, just Pewaukee.
Oh, fishing or cruising?
Cruising.
Cool.
It was great. Weather was good.
I had my boat out, and I had mechanical problems. So
you didn't know about till you got to the water.
The trolling motor didn't work, so I had to get off the lake. And then we fixed it, went back out, and then I had some other charging issues. But It'll get fixed. So we're going to talk about, so we just had a hailstorm come in.
Yeah, it's about 2 weeks ago. Hailstorm hit the Ixonia, Ashapin, Eagle, Dousman.
Yeah.
That whole loop.
Yeah, and there was some good size hail. Yeah, that came through.
Like 2 inch, 1 to 2 inch hail.
Yeah, damaging hail for sure. So
chunks of siding.
Just a refresh for our listeners, and what happens when a hailstorm like this hits. It's kind of chaotic.
Yeah, especially the first 24 hours.
Yes.
What you'll see first is a lot of trucks all of a sudden in the area.
Yes.
Taking up the streets, and a lot of door knocking. I had some people tell me that they got knocked on their door past 10 p.m. at night, which is
wrong.
Not okay,
no.
In my opinion. So yeah, you're going to see a lot of people coming out of the woodwork and trying to get you to redo your roof and your siding, because most likely it was damaged.
Yeah.
So we're here to kind of inform you about what we do here at Big Fish Contracting when a hailstorm strikes, and, you know, things to look out for and things to consider if you do have storm damage.
Yeah. First of all, what's going on in the industry, roofing industry, in particular roofing, of course it gets into siding, but roofing is the driving force behind it, is that there's a lot of insurance companies paying out for roof replacements for hail damage. It's been going on for 10, 15 years. And so the national model of roofing, meaning there's a lot of companies, private equity firms, buying small mom and pop type roofing companies, as well as having national brand like with franchises. Mm-hmm. So they're private equity firms that start franchises, and when a hailstorm pops up, like one did in 22, mm-hmm. which is a massive, our listeners might remember, it was a massive hailstorm that came through mainly Oconomowoc. Since then, there's been a lot of hail activity in the area, and these private equity firms are starting franchises in the area and in the market. And so we're going to talk a little bit about local, like what that means to be local. But before that, just to make our listeners aware, is that the model is sending in sales representatives into damaged neighborhoods. They're watching the weather, mm-hmm. and they're heading here as the storm is arriving or before.
Yeah, they're watching that map. I mean, the technology for weather systems now is unreal, and they are predicting these storms. And even if it doesn't get as big as they think, people are still following those maps and waiting for that activity to strike. And then they will target that specific area that got hit the worst.
Correct.
And they'll be there.
They will.
It's still hailing, I'm sure.
While it's still hailing, certainly the morning after, there's mm-hmm. just going to be contractors everywhere. Mm-hmm. And their sales team and sales force are trained to just go canvass neighborhoods, go door to door. Mm. This is where homeowners need to start to be aware, is that they tend to be a little bit more on the aggressive side. They want you to sign a contract called a contingency agreement that ties them to the claim. They also are, so they're a little pushy. They also really like to get signs in people's yards, mm-hmm. Because then they'll go to the neighbors right around, and they'll point, oh, we're working with Jim and Nancy. And they tend to kind of prey on vulnerability, because a lot of homeowners don't have the experience, don't know what a claims process looks like. Mm-hmm. And they come in and they spin a narrative that the insurance company is your enemy. You need to have a contractor like them there, meeting the adjuster, working with your insurance company, or you are going to get taken advantage of by your insurance company. Our narrative is that is not true. It's so because we work with all the insurance companies and have for years and years. They're not your enemy. No, they are there to make you whole when a hailstorm comes in, or wind damage, or water damage. It doesn't matter. You do need to have a contractor that is familiar with the insurance.
And how to read a claim and what those line items show.
Yep, and how to work with the insurance company. But the first, most important thing that anybody needs to or just kind of do is just take a breath and relax. And you don't sign with anybody, us included.
Right.
There's plenty of time for that down the road. Once the claims process is underway, once you've been fully educated on the expectations and the process, there are contracts that come along with it. But we are there to educate you, to make you feel comfortable.
Right. It shouldn't be a decision that's just made right on the spot, I don't think. And there's no it's too late to file a claim or anything like that. So,
right. I mean, you have a year generally,
exactly.
Right?
You do have a full year.
So there's plenty of time. It is best to. So when we have a storm that is, there's a lot of storms that come through that the damage is marginal. Then it is certainly best to have a contractor come and do a survey of the damage.
Agreed, because sometimes some companies will say, yep, you have damage, file a claim. And as homeowners, we do have to be tricky with filing claims because the insurance market is changing.
Yep.
And so you want to keep your relationship with your insurance company very strong. So you want to be super mindful each and every time you file a claim. So the nice part is if you are on the fence or you have no clue, give us a call and we will say, oh, this is definitely worthy of a claim, or you know what, the damage isn't that bad, your roof is fine for another few years, maybe wait for a different hailstorm or something.
Yeah, I mean, or you can go through the process and file a claim, but at least you kind of know what to expect. So now when a storm comes through that is more significant, and we as contractors have been on multiple roofs take Eagle, for example. I've been on at least 15 roofs out in the same subdivision, saw damage on every single roof. It becomes easier to just file a claim. Like almost every home in that subdivision has some damage. So those ones where the hail is a little bit more significant, certainly Ixonia and Ashpen, we've seen significant hail. You can feel pretty comfortable filing a claim.
And what does the damage look like? And would most homeowners be able to say, oh yeah, I think that is, in your opinion? Great
question. So the damage on the roof, you can't see from the ground. So you have to get up on the roof, and they are the hail hit on some of the hail actually broke through where there's like a hole in the ridge cap shingle. So those are a little bit easier to see, but most of the damage looks like bruising on the matting of the shingle, and an untrained eye could gloss right over it.
Sure.
Damage on the siding is pretty evident. Aluminum is going to show dimples, or hail hits or dents. Vinyl is either going to be broken, like just a hole in your vinyl, or it survived. And then generally LP and fiber cement, that survives hail no problem. Cedar, there might be paint chips all over, but the siding itself is going to be fine. We're looking at windows, so garage doors, soft metals like your downspouts, those are easy to see.
It'll be all dimply.
All big dings on the screens are tore up a lot from hail. So that's but generally what we're seeing. The roof is the one thing that is just, you got to get up on the roof. Yeah. So when we get to this, okay, now we're filing a claim. really you don't need a contractor even yet at that point. It can be helpful, but you don't need one. The insurance companies are going to send out their adjusters, and they're going to do their adjusting work. That's what they're trained professionals. If there's damage there, they're typically going to find it. Most of the adjusters are probably more skilled than the contractors at finding damage. Right,
that's what they do all day long, every day.
Yeah. But if you have a contractor at that point, we're certainly happy to meet the adjuster out there. It doesn't really. Sometimes we're able to point some things out that they miss, but it's more of a tag team type of effort. Mm-hmm. It's not like because we're better or we're
we just work side by side.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the adjusters are great. But this is the process where you want to begin to really just interview contractors if you're going to, because just finding a good, honest, local, we're going to talk about local contractor is going to be it's just the way to go. The one caveat about local is that there's some contractors who are local, but they don't have a lot of experience dealing with insurance claims. Mm-hmm. And it's probably advisable that you find a contractor with a lot of experience dealing with insurance claims.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's multiple policies. There's how they're written is different for claim to claim. Yep. How to close them out, how to collect depreciation on them. Those are all skills that the right person needs to know.
Yeah. How do you tell if a company is local?
That's where it gets very tricky, because we live in this world where AI can generate things. Anybody can get a phone number with a local area code and not be living in the state even. So that is tricky. I think talking to other people, especially during a storm event when plenty of neighbors are meeting plenty of people, I think it's important to go outside and talk to your neighbors.
Yes.
Up on your local Facebook groups or things like that, and just kind of bounce each other's feedback off. I think that's a helpful way. I Google the company. Usually, even if they say they're local, if you go to their website, you'll actually see their real location. So they may be out of New Jersey or something, but have a pop-up office in Brookfield or something.
Yeah,
so
they might have multiple locations, statewide or nationwide even. The other thing is just with your reviews. When you go on Google or Better Business Bureau or just local, you kind of know the companies that have been around. They've been, these reviews are from 2014, right here. And they've been here for quite some time. But that's what we hear all the time when all the advertising that's going out now on all your Meta, your social media feeds, it's just a click of a button. We do it. So you'll see our ads that are running on Facebook and Instagram. But this word local is being thrown out so much, hire local. And I've gotten personally to the point where it's local is just too generic.
Yeah, I would say experienced.
It's
a good
and because there's a lot of local companies out there that are terrible. And we're not going to give any names or anything like that. We just know there are. And so just because a company is local
that shouldn't be your only reason.
Exactly. Yeah. In fact, I would rather hire an experienced non-local storm chasing team than an inexperienced or dishonest local company.
Right. Which is important to study and know who you're hiring.
Yes. What I've been thinking about is there's a lot of companies, us being one of them, who have been really entrenched in the community. So there's local companies, remodeling companies that you'll see them sponsoring the Oconomowoc or Delafield Street Days or Heartland Street Days or the Lions Club. You'll see their logos on Little League.
Yeah, soccer jerseys.
promoting and sponsoring different arts and community events around the area. When I think local, that's just what I think. It's not just that they live here, but they're actually a part of the community, and it's just something for owners to be mindful of.
Agreed.
Yeah, because I just feel it's great. Those are the types of companies that I want to spend my money on, is not ones that are just like in it locally and lining their own pockets, as Chad would say, but like they're sharing, it's just sharing with the community. And those companies are pretty easy to kind of find because they're usually the ones who have just been around. Yeah. So once you find a company that you trust, getting them involved with the claim process at that point is what you'd want to do. They're going to be able to walk through the claim with you, the scope of work that the insurance company has agreed to, associated price points with that scope of work. But then they're also going to be able to negotiate with the insurance company if there's things that are missed, more damage. And then they're going to be talking with you as a homeowner about the warranties of the products that they're using, the colors, the experience, and just the normal things that you would go through when you hire a contractor to do a job.
Yeah, whether it was insurance related or not, there's still all of those details to work out.
Yes. Yes. Now, this is going to be maybe a little bit boring, but I do want to talk about so a lot of the insurance companies' policies have changed over the last 2 to 3 years. So 3 years ago, the majority of the policies, it doesn't matter how old your roof was, or what condition it was in, it was going to be full replacement cost.
Correct.
Which means that you would, if the roof was damaged by hail, you would get a brand new roof with brand new everything, and you would pay your deductible, and the insurance company would pay the full replacement cost. But in the last couple of years, a lot of policies are going to what's called a non-recoverable depreciated amount, or an actual cash value.
Yeah, or an ACV policy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so,
very fancy terms in the insurance world.
Correct. So if you have a roof that was expected to last 30 years and it was 15 years old, they're going to depreciate that 50%. And so they're going to give you basically half of what it costs, plus your deductible off of that, to replace the roof. Which is the fiscally responsible way to probably write policies in some ways.
Yeah, I would agree. Except if you're the homeowner that has, a 12-year-old roof versus a 30 versus a 1, right?
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, then it's unfortunate for the homeowners in particular, because now they have a damaged roof that they had 10 years of life left on. But they have to get it technically replaced because it's been damaged, but they have to come out of pocket, $8,000, $10,000, it depends on the size of the roof.
Yeah, when maybe 5 years ago it would have gotten completely
It would have gotten covered, yeah. And now, and a lot of that's an unplanned expense.
Correct, for a lot of people.
For a lot of people, right? And that's understandable, and it is a little tricky spot to be in, both as a homeowner and as a contractor. I mean, you're trying to work with them, but then basically at that point, we're going to try to at least get the homeowner as much as they can from the policy,
maximize it,
maximize the claim, and then we're going to give them a bid for the work, just like a normal job that isn't insurance, to try to minimize the out-of-pocket cost. But your agent, agents are going to be, you're getting new insurance, right?
Oh yes, I'm in the insurance shopping.
And you're asking questions.
A lot of questions.
Because you understand how policies are written.
Yeah, but 10 years ago, I would have not known what questions to ask at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
So agents are really, that's where they come in, where they should be able to explain how these policies work
Yes.
before a storm
Yes.
comes in, so you as a homeowner kind of know what to expect.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times people file a claim and it comes back and they don't know what they're
No
reading
idea.
or what
Yep.
it's covering. Even the way paperwork is written when you actually get a claim is very, very hard to understand. So I think that is one of the nice parts here is all of our sales team is very knowledgeable about the breakdown and explaining what means what.
Yes, that's what we love at Big Fish is just really educating homeowners and empowering them to make good decisions.
Correct.
Which I wish everyone did on every field, because and I'm not bashing agents, but if your agent did a good job of explaining what you're signing, we wouldn't need to.
That's so true. Yeah.
But certainly we are happy to do that.
So I was going to say, so you have an agent that sells you your insurance policy, and then when a claim happens, you get assigned an adjuster. Now, what can happen sometimes is there will be a field adjuster that comes out to your property and is physically looking at the roof and saying, yep, damage here. And then when it gets back to their office, it gets reassigned to a desk adjuster. So you may have a claim that has multiple people on it, and that can sometimes be a little bit tricky to navigate, after the initial policy claim gets filed. It's just, where does it sit now? Where does it live? And the communication between filing the claim to finally getting the work done
And closing it.
It can be a lengthy process. So
Generally is,
everybody
yes.
needs to remember patience during this time because there is a lot of back and forth and just it just takes time,
Yes, and there is some truth to if there isn't somebody actively working on the claim, not like every day, but like just actively working on the claim will just sit a lot
Correct.
of times.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
And
you can
'cause
think back in the old days,
insurance
if you have
companies
files
will
just
not-
sitting on top of one another, all of a sudden that one may get to the bottom.
Yes.
So that is just the reality and the nature of it. It just can get lost, so to speak.
It can, because they're
with
busy.
adjusters, exactly. Yeah.
And so again, with Big Fish, we are actively working on your claim. That may take 5 months.
Sometimes
Sometimes
it
they're
takes 5
fast.
days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we in-house are actively working on that claim for you, and just moving it along. And then from the jobs, the root work being done, we're also actively working on that too.
Yeah, exactly. And our communication is the exact same, whether it's an insurance job or not. And the nice part too here is when the job is done, we take the responsibility on closing it out for you. So, sending in all of the documents the insurance company needs, all of the photos and things like that, we do take care of for you on this end. Just make sure you do your homework, read lots of blogs and posts and reviews, and you can never learn too much when it comes to insurance. So stay patient, stay vigilant.
And if you need anything along the way, reach out to us.
Yeah, 262-470-1114.
Or on the World Wide Web.
World Wide Web, HTTP.
TPS www.bigfishcontracting.com.